Okay, let's try this again. Hi, this is Dave with Geek Cave Creations. Um, this is technically it's my second Twitch stream because, I had technical difficulties with the first one. I'm now hearing myself, so this is going to be a little strange. I'm watching Twitch while I do this, so I'm just going to shut that off. There we go. Okay, so now I can't hear myself. Anyways, Fishing Planet, as you can see. Um, I know there are a lot of videos out there. I've watched a lot of videos out there. I watched a couple of live streams, especially KP Shimino's. I have to mention him because, he's the one that inspired me to learn a few things and to, kind of share my information as I've learned things. Um, what I'm going to do in this first particular video or stream, whatever, is show you something that I found out about Florida down in the Everglades, and particularly the floating thickets. Yeah, where you normally would fish for the unique butterfly peacock bass. Let's go ahead and pop into that real quick. Okay, now this is kind of cool. I'm gonna quit watching my streaming program and just watch the game. Anyways, this is the floating thickets, and as you know, right out there is where you normally catch your unique butterfly peacock bass. But I'm going to show you something a little different. Um, this area right in here, right off the dock to the the sun's over there. It's early in the morning, so this is basically to the um, north. You've got these lily pads here. This is actually a really good spot for fishing for trophies. Now, it's all well and good to come out here and spend your one game hour per day trying to catch the uniques out here. But, well, Florida's expensive. It's 320 cash for the travel, and what is it? 40 cash per day for the license. Okay, so that's 360 in cash that you've got to come up with just for one day of fishing to try to catch, uniques for an hour. Okay, you kind of got to make the trip pay in addition to gathering whatever gold you have, that you want to bring in. So this is how I do it, basically. As you can see, I'm using shiners on a number 60 hook with a chubby bobber. And I'm just going to fish in this area right here because this is a serious hotbed for trophy-sized butterfly peacock bass. And basically all I do, okay, is I point to where I'm going to go, and I usually like to go right here. Okay, and you notice the power meter is way down at the bottom. Basically, you double click the silly thing, and as you can see, it gets kind of close. You can put it more or less where you want it. Then you back the reel off a little bit and put it out to 7 or 8 millimeters, or 7 or 8 feet. And as you can see, and this is what I really wanted to show you, this is what it looks like when fish hit this thing. Okay, I'm going to bounce the bobber once or twice to get the fish's attention. Now just watch. You can see the fish in the water there, attacking the lure, and his tail sticks up, and large ripples occur. Now, you don't want to hit at this point because it's not going to do anything. You're just going to end up losing your bait most of the time. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to let it take that bobber for a ride, and he will. If not him, another fish, because there's a lot of them here. And there he goes. And usually, you can right click real quick when he takes it for a ride, and then left click to just bring it in. This one obviously has run because I'm explaining things, and of course, it's not doing what it's supposed to do. One of the other things that I wanted to show you, see how fast the tension gauge for the line is showing up? I found out that if you, oh look, my license is expired. Well, that kind of sucks. Anyways, if you use the enter key, especially the one on the numpad, if you've got a numpad on your keyboard, that is the same in game as the right mouse button. And when you've got a fish on the line, you can just leave your left mouse button down with your finger, and then use your other hand to quickly tap that enter key to bring the fish in faster. It saves between 30 and 80% of the amount of time that it takes to reel in a fish if you do it that way. And I'll demonstrate here in a little bit. But first, we have to go see about getting licenses. Okay, we're in Florida, and we're just going to pick up basic Florida license and advanced Florida license, both of them 3 days. Simple as that. Okay, now we're going to come back to the inventory and escape out. Okay, now we're going to do this whole thing again. So I want to cast right there. So I right click to put my aiming marker where I want it, and then just real quick double click, and it kind of misses a lot of the time, but you can actually raise the bait out of the water and drop it right where you want it. Then back off a little bit. There you go, 7 feet is pretty good. Now, you'll notice right off the bat, not much is happening, because you got to get the fish's attention. The way to do that is just to right click to where your bobber pops up just a little bit. That little bit of motion of the bobber translates down to the fish, down to your shiner, and it will get the bass's attention. If it doesn't do it immediately, you can do it again. Just don't do it too hard. But it does get the fish's attention, and after a few seconds, you should get some action. If by some chance you don't, like what's happening now, of course, since I'm, streaming this, you can actually pick the thing all the way up out of the water, move it anywhere you want to in this area, including inside the lilies, although you got to be careful about snagging. Okay, and then just drop it in place. Then after a couple of seconds, bounce the lure or bounce the bobber once. Or twice. There we go. See, you got some action now. You can see the fish in between the lily pads just dancing around with his tail out of the water, which I think is kind of cool. Here in a second, he'll take the bait. And basically, you're going to want to let the bobber run for just a second. Then you're going to hit the up. See how the fish just swam off to the right? That happens a lot sometimes. You bounce the bobber a couple of more times and just sit there and wait for a few seconds. And then you get another fish. Just like that. And more watching the fish try to attack the shiner that I've got on there. There he goes. And this is what I'm talking about. A quick right click and a quick left click, and boom, you've got a trophy butterfly peacock bass in your hand. And all you got to do is do it again. See, that time it landed right where it was supposed to. Okay, now you're at 5 feet, so back off just a couple of feet. So you got plenty of room to work. Bounce the lure once, or the bobber, I should say. Give it a few seconds. And if nothing happens, bounce it again. You only got to bounce it a little bit. You don't have to pull it all the way out of the water or anything like that. In fact, the least motion possible is best, because you just want to attract the fish's attention. You don't want to scare it off. Now, one thing I'll mention is that there are some Florida gar in here, and they will go after this same bait. And they fight a whole lot harder than the bass do. But that's just kind of the way it is. So I've only caught a couple, but they are in here. And you can tell the difference when they start attacking the bait because you can see the fish in the water right here. And this is one of the reasons why I like doing this so much. It's because you can actually see what's going on. And of course, since I'm, doing this stream for the first time, things are not happening as planned. That's okay. That's all part of the Yep, there we go. See the fish? He just sits there and he tugs on it and pulls on it, gets his tail out of the water, makes those huge ripples. And here in just a second, he may just take off with it. Yep, nope, he just took off without it, off to the right. Okay, so bounce the bobber. Wait a few seconds. And again, wait a few seconds. You notice that? See the fish? There he is. Okay. Just be patient. This could happen 2-3 times, but it's still relatively fast compared to casting out there in the thickets. There he goes. And boom. Right click, left click, I got a fish. See how that works? This is one of the most effective ways of catching these trophies here. I'm going to go ahead and cast in a different area to show you that it works in other places as well. This time, since I'm casting out a bit further, it's not a double click. Click, click. And this time you want to pull it in just a little bit so that it's not in the lily pads. There you go, right there. Give it a little bounce and let it sit for a few seconds. Now, anytime I come out here to try to farm gold, I got to admit, I've only caught one unique fish here. After like 5 different days of being out here and 4 different trips. All of the trips netted me more than enough money to pay for the travel and such. But it's rather frustrating when you've only got 1 hour game time and you can maybe catch 4 fish out there, and 3 of those 4, or even 4 of those 4, most of the time for me, have been just trophies. The bait, the large minnows, is expensive in gold, especially if you have to buy it here rather than in the store at the main map. They're 6 gold at the main map for 5. They're 9 gold at the local shop here for that same 5 large minnows. That's just too expensive. So anytime you go, make sure you've got the bait that you need. I usually spend about 27 gold, sometimes 36 to buy 20 minnows. 15 20 minnows is all you really need for any one outing here. If you burn up that many large minnows here and not catching any uniques, then well, you're kind of wasting your gold. Now I understand that they've actually nerfed this fish from the first time that I read about them being farmable. I don't really think they are now, but this is a good place to farm cash because you get quite a few of these trophy sites, which pay pretty well and have pretty decent XP. In fact, here, let me show you what I've done so far. Let's go ahead and roll this all the way in. There we go. See, so far in this particular trip, I've caught 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trophies, and they've averaged about 50, 49.5, 50 gold a piece, and about 150 XP, which isn't great compared to some other fish that you can do, but that's pretty good if you can get it fairly quickly, and you can here. I can see I've got those 8 for a total of 403. This is my first day here. It's cost me 360 for the first day, travel and license combined. So, already I've made, some profit on this. Um, and I don't know if you've noticed it, but it's only 7:30 in the morning here, and um, I basically haven't set the clock, so 2.5 hours of fishing there, and I've already made for my day's worth, and I've still got a whole day of fishing to do. So, anyways, this is what I wanted to show you. Thank you for bearing with me for this first stream, and I hope to have more people in eventually. And of course, I'm archiving these so it can be watched. And I'm also going to see about uploading them to YouTube so that other people can find it and see these techniques. And as I get better at streaming and recording these, the information is going to be a lot more usable. But hopefully, this is a good start. Anyways, this is Dave for Geek K Creations. Thank you for joining me and have a wonderful day.